Hey everyone, welcome back. And here we have match number 2 between Pandemic Legion and V0LTA. And here are the matchups that we're looking at today.
So Pandemic Legion has brought Navy Scorpion double Claymores instead of double Slipnir. Very interesting. Scimitar, double Jackdaw, double Zivel, Manicore. What has Volta brought?
Volta has brought the double Fleet Foon, which is something we've seen a lot today. Also, another Foon and a Prophecy, obviously, for their links, and then a smattering of, looks like web-based support ships.
You know, I was just looking over the ships really quickly, now that we just have just a little bit of time here, and it looks like these are going to be cruise Foons and a cruise Navy Scorpion. I'm interested to see how these Claymores work, just because generally you do not see them, especially as like an attack role ship in the AT. Definitely the first time we've seen them here. Are their hams going to be enough?
Yeah, we're seeing the looks like Volta run towards the PL lines with their Fleet Foons, aggressively coming straight for their setup here. One of the hyenas for Volta is taking a lot of damage.
Yeah,
because it's got
Volta needs to be careful with these Jackdaws very close to it. TikTok immediately trying to grab a little bit of range. It seems to have stabilized, but during that time, Zivel lost on Pandemic Legion's side.
Yeah, those hyenas are going straight for keeping that Svipol fleet off of the fleet. They're trying to keep them stable and away so that their support can kill them, because those will run roughshod again, like we've seen in a lot of other matches earlier. Well,
but this Typhoon is going down so hard. Wow, reps landing so late. You know what? Right now, Volta needs to be very careful if they're losing a battleship already.
Yeah, I mean,
they only have a Tech 1 Logi, and it looks like he's just stabilized. Oh my God, low armor. Wow. That is just a shred of armor. From what I'm seeing right now, 5% structure. Wow, Theroth has to be counting his lucky stars that Volta lived through that.
What was the quote that we were told earlier? A bee's dick?
Yeah, possibly from the Aussie team. But I'd say Pandemic Legion's team is just absolutely covered in webs. The double hyenas that Volta brought are just doing absolute work here. One of them down, control feet down. Again, Pandemic Legion switching their DPS back to the Foon and then switching back to hyena, really stressing the Augurer. Starfleet Commander doing everything he can to try and keep his team up with his reps spread out, but this Typhoon is just, down too, and if they lose the hyena...
down, and the hyena is also dipping deep into armor.
Yeah, wow, hyena down too, so that's 3 ships down quickly. The Augurer just stretched too thin. Pandemic Legion on point, back and forth calling DPS calls, and it cannot be understated, but the double Jackdaws do a lot of damage to these light ships. Getting the hyenas off first was a great call, not going for the bombers. The hyenas are going to allow the damage from these cruise Foons and the bombers just to be amplified against the Claymores, which have an extremely great tank. And right now, Volta, unable to break Pandemic Legion Scimitar, they might be in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, I mean, it's just looking like more bad news for Volta. The Augur's been webbed, snossed, and painted, and scrammed. So he's in serious trouble, because those Claymores and Scorpions, if they get a hold of him, are probably going to knock him down pretty quick. Speaking of things that are having a bad time, that Scimitar and Peel's side is also dipping very, very low into armor.
It's definitely running the last few of its XLASB charges, but at this point, it may have stayed alive long enough to live. It's going down just now, but you know, these 2 Claymores on the Pandemic Legion side are essentially just missile-based Slipnirs for all intents and purposes. They have hams, so they're not going to be able to get any damage at all unless the Augurer is scrammed and webbed. Currently it is now down.
Again, another Purifier down is too, so that's another huge chunk of DPS.
Yes, it is.
Gone.
Yes, it is. The question is can these 2 Fleet Foons do enough damage against Claymores and Scorpions without the hyenas? The issue with taking cruise missiles, if you do not have your targets grappled, painted, and webbed, which are what the hyenas were designed to do with their bonus target painters and long webs, it's going to be difficult to apply damage, especially to these Claymores, which are battle cruisers, so they're going to have a smaller SIG, a wonderful active tank, so it's going to be difficult to see if Volta can claw their way back.
Well, it's that same problem you have with the difference between the Fleet Typhoon and the normal Foon. The Foon does get an application bonus, but when you start going up to the Fleet, it doesn't have that same bonus, so it needed to have those hyenas there to apply appreciable damage.
Yeah, Mystical Might right now, just taking the damage primary, he's just covered by both of the Claymores and the Navy Scorpion. He's going to go down in short order, and I think they're going to focus then on the other Fleet Typhoon. Again, the Prophecy on Volta's side is just there to provide links. Pandemic Legion just showing mastery, doing very well in their target calling, knowing exactly how Volta's team works, knowing exactly what pieces to pick apart first. They didn't go directly for the Augurer. Instead, they went for the hyenas, which allowed this 3 battleship core, which with cruise missiles has a lot of potential damage, but immediately by icing those hyenas, their ability to apply that damage became extremely limited. Tinking and the Scimitar stayed alive long enough to give his Claymores and the Navy Scorpion the head start they needed when taking down the battleships, and right now, this looks like curtains for Volta.
Yeah, I mean, as we were saying yesterday, this is the part where you know you're going to die. It's only a matter of time, but you have to stay alive long enough to give your team a chance. And this is clearly a case where that Scimitar made them earn that kill in blood that they could not afford to replace.
So it looks like Annie Garden is again trying to play with the edge of the arena. We know how well that's worked for PL in the past, so we're going to watch very carefully. I don't think anything's going to happen here. Both these Claymores are being very, very passive in chasing down this Fleet Typhoon. No rush. For those of you that are watching the tournament who may not know or who are new players, these hyenas, these very small electronic attack ships with ranges to webs and target painters, really make this team that Volta had brought. And I'm just bringing it back again to say, not only on the Pandemic Legion side, but both of the Zippels too. These small ships are really the linchpin of the entire operation. Zippels getting behind, getting the tackle on the auger, getting tackle on hyenas, and then of course hyenas on the Volta side, grabbing the webs and the bonus target painters really allow the bigger ships like Claymores, Scorpions, and Typhoons to actually do their job. So small ship piloting, again, really, really good at display here, showing how it should be done. Pandemic Legion is just finishing up the last of the EHP that Volta has, and it looks like they're going to have a pretty clean win.
Yeah, I mean, you saw at the beginning how incredibly powerful that was. That first SFIV pull just died. But once they were able to get under their webs and then get close enough to get their own tackle back on those ships, those hyenas were just lights out.
Yeah, hyenas had a lot to worry about with the jackdaws, that's for sure. Those light missile T3Ds, very, very deadly against smaller frigates and other destroyers, not to mention the fact that Zippel's running at you very quickly. Hyena pilots had a lot to think about early on.
All the T3 destroyers are very, very good at killing electronic warfare frigates. Jackdaws especially, just because they don't have to deal with tracking and the long range of the light missiles.
So a little bit just to clean up here. Vengeance, trying to make it, but just finished off.
All right, well, that's the end of that one. So we're going to hand it back to the analysis desk. Back to you.
Pandemic Legion takes it in 2 over V0LTA, who will go down into the elimination bracket there to form Volta against whoever it is that they face in their next match.
They're going to be a terror down there.
It's going to be fun to watch. We're going to see what happens. Obviously, Pandemic Legion not worried at all about that Sleipnir ban, bringing in those Claymores as you mentioned they might, going straight ahead. I guess V0LTA really upset they didn't bring a Drake, which has proven much more effective against Pandemic Legion's fleet. Fozzie, what do you have to say?
What PL was trying to do there is get the win without giving away any new setups. They knew that they had a bit of a buffer. They could lose this match and still have a third one in the series, and even if they lost that, they're still in the tournament. So they decided to go with the safest option, which is not give away anything new, just show a setup you've already brought. In fact, the one you just brought. Switch up the Sleipnirs for a Claymore, and it worked out for them. So they are now going on to the winners bracket final, and with that, they are guaranteed to get at least some Alliance Tournament prize ships.
Mod?
Yeah, so PL is now guaranteed third place at the very worst. Well done by them. And yeah, Volta just didn't seem like they had any answers for what PL was bringing to the field. I'm not sure if it's stress or nerves or what, but they just didn't seem like they had an answer for Pandemic Legion at all.
This team that PL brought here is obviously one that they'd practiced a ton. This is a team that they have the ability to sub in their Scorpion Navy issue flagship. They have the ability to sub in Natana if they feel like it. So they have a more powerful version of the same setup. And I'm guessing that they've practiced it more than almost anything else. This is the kind of default setup that they practice everything else against. They use it the baseline that they know inside and out. And it's really hard to beat a really well-practiced team at the setup that they know the best.
And it's interesting that they're running it at kind of as you indicate, a lower power level than they could. They can sauce that version up and give it a little bit more punch, which is going to bring in a lot of bans, going to bring in a lot of attention from the fleets that they fight later on in this tournament.
Yeah.
Of course, as you mentioned, they've secured themselves a very is it a definite third place if they
At least third place.
At least third place.
Yes.
They win and then they lose. Yep.
Yep.
There we go. Good job.
Yeah, and now Afterlife has a chance to do the same.
They could indeed. If Afterlife takes their next match, then today will end a little bit early. And we'll know that two teams are pretty far along.
And if that happens, then I know PL will probably be stressing out because the Afterlife team includes the core of the old Dark Side teams, which have shown that they've been able to knock PL's streaks before.
Well, let's
They're
see,
the ones that kicked them out of the tournament, kept them from winning 4 in a row.
Let's take a look at what PL did in that last match. There's the damage going across, 199,000 damage from Pandemic Legion, dropping down onto V0LTA. V0LTA unable to return even 50% of that back to the Legion. Isk lost not a tremendous amount given what we've seen earlier in the tournament.
These are fairly affordable teams.
Yeah, these are not super spendy setups that we're looking at. We're not seeing a massive investment. It's just a significant investment.
Yeah, these are 2 bread and butter teams. I think this Volta team is also one that they would have practiced a ton. It's one that has a lot of similarities to what was popular last year as well. So they again know it inside and out. But in this case, that Navy Scorpion team with the dual command ship is a really strong core.
And you've got to wonder how Volta is going to take their next match, or do they go into series play?
No, they're going to have another just normal match
right.
against one of the teams that wins from the next losers bracket set. Yeah.
There we go.